All right, so y'all know about me showing you in the Trump Antichrist series that Donald Trump is Batman, and that Donald Trump says he's Batman in that video. Kid asked him, "Are you Batman?" And he looks at the camera, which is allegedly where the kid is sitting. It's where the voice is coming from, but we don't see a kid. We hear the kid. Obviously, there's a kid there, but Trump looks into the camera. That's why it's set up like that. It's his own YouTube production company that put this out, and he looks at the camera and he says, "I am Batman." It's only a 5 second commercial. A 5 second clip. It's called Trump Ownership, is the name of the YouTube site.
Yes. Mr. Trump.
Yes.
Are you Batman?
I am Batman.
Okay. Clearly staged. Obviously, the rest of the people have no clue that any of that was going on. I'm sure that somebody inside the vehicle or whatever they're in said to him or said to them, "Have your child ask Donald Trump if he's Batman." Something to that effect. So that was easy. So then we start watching this Family Guy episode. Starts off with a bat. And of course, we know about this being called the bat virus. And there is a bat coin now. The brand new coin, the new Samoan quarter is a there we go. It's a new quarter, it's a Samoan quarter, and it's got a bat on it. And of course, they sold this as
Everybody, I've come up with the perfect plan to catch the bat. I bought this remote-controlled toy helicopter to which I have attached this handgun.
Anyway,
I'll tell you, this thing is not...
They get into shots.
And looks fine.
Oh, hey, high five.
Huh. As long as you're here, I see Stewie hasn't had his vaccinations yet. Should we take care of that?
Well, I suppose so.
Oh, but first, I'm required to have you read this pamphlet about the risks of vaccinations.
By the way, this show came out in 2016. So this was the year Trump was running for president. And if you understand that Trump was always going to be president. So, elections aren't real. I don't know how to say it any more plainer or more blunt.
God, you are aging so rapidly.
Possible side effects: fever, severe allergic reaction, muscle and joint pain. Wait, and this can't be right. They actually put some of the disease in the shot?
Hey, man, how many questions your lady ask?
Like a million?
So, of course, it says teasing anyone who asks questions. What they always do, their job is to always make conspiracy theorists look crazy. So if you have a theory that somebody is conspiring, where the Bible clearly says it's mystery of iniquity, of course it's a conspiracy. It's called Mystery Babylon the Great. Everything that they do is underground. It's a hidden mystery. They don't ever do anything open to the public all the way through the end times. It's a mystery. Everything they do is in complete secrecy. So they're going to tease this lady, and then they're going to make them that question look stupid. Just like I used to follow Alex Jones, who's nothing more than controlled opposition. He told the truth. He sucked me in. That's what they do. And until you realize that almost every truth channel that you watch, if something's gone viral, that's controlled opposition. That's them putting something out through the ghost in the machine. So that's the quickest way to recognize a YouTube site that has hundreds of thousands of subscribers or tens of thousands, and they're always posting about something political. They latch onto that Fox News narrative or that QAnon narrative, or like right now the big hot button is the vaccine narrative. And now they're setting up Bill Gates to be the bad guy, which that's what his role has been the whole time. He's performing as the bad guy. So what? so Trump could end up being the good guy. But anyway, let's keep going with this. This is great.
I don't remember having to read any of this when Chris and Meg had their vaccinations.
Well, that was before internet chat rooms made everybody an expert. It's a better world now.
I don't know about this, Dr. Hartman. We might need a little bit of time to think this over.
Hey, you guys, is that my laptop?
Yeah, sorry. We were looking something up. We were going to get Stewie vaccinated, but now after our research,
More ridicule for anyone who is anti-vaccination is what they got at the
we're
bottom.
definitely...
Make conspiracy theorists look stupid. What I was telling you was Alex Jones ended up going on like some primetime TV show, and I was just as gullible as today's QAnon fan, and I was like, all right, is the truth going to get out? I was still thinking that man is going to make the world a better place, when the Bible clearly says, at the very end times, the kingdoms of this world have now become the kingdoms of our Lord. That's after the Lord is. That's after the Great Tribulation. That's after the Antichrist does this thing, and the Lord eventually comes and puts His wrath upon the earth. That is when. Other than that, Lucifer, Satan, is the prince of this world, said by Jesus in John 12:31, John 14:30, John 16:11, and of course in I think Matthew and I think Luke in chapter 4s of each, I think, is when the temptation of where Satan is tempting Jesus, and one of the temptations is offering him the kingdoms of this world if he will just bow down to him, and Jesus did not say they were not his kingdoms to offer. So Satan, a created being, is running this world. And for Donald Trump or QAnon and all them to pretend that there is just a deep state, when in fact the whole world is Mystery Babylon. They control everything. People go, well, if you don't like the country, leave. America, love it or leave it. Or leave, go somewhere else. Everywhere's Babylon. I mean, you got a pyramid on the back of your dollar bill. There's no pyramids in the United States. So what does that tell you? It's all about the Egyptian gods and goddesses, which is really all about Lucifer. So it's about the sun god and the moon goddess. But let's keep going here.
Not.
Oh, no, Lois, don't tell me you fell for all that anti-vaxxer crap.
It's not crap, Brian. There's a lot of evidence to suggest there's a link between vaccinations and autism.
Lois, all that so-called evidence has been debunked.
Listen to some of these ingredients. Mercury, thimerosal, aluminum, formaldehyde.
Lois, deciding not to vaccinate Stewie is something that affects all of us. The only reason they work is that if a critical mass of society gets immunized, then the diseases won't spread.
Here's the theory on vaccinations. If you want to get a vaccination to where you'll be immune from anything, it should be, of course, on a volunteer basis. I mean, if you're that gullible to get sucked into that, then you get vaccinated. Then you don't have to worry about anything. So why do you care if anybody else is vaccinated? You're protected. Right? So there would never be a need for a mandatory vaccination. Would there be? No.
Look, Brian, I was skeptical too, but then I did some research and I found some very interesting things from the leader of the anti-vaccination movement.
Now, I will tell you this. I don't think a vaccination's ever coming. I think all the vaccination stuff is just mark of the beast. I don't think it's ever going to be a vaccination. I don't think they're ever going to have a vaccination. I don't. They might, but I don't think so. But they might. It might all be part of World War III. Hitting everybody with vaccinations to poison their mind, cloud their brains, military distributing it during World War III, military in the streets, vaccinating everybody that wants food or water. But soon after World War III anyway, you get the mark of the beast. So I don't, the only reason they would want to vaccinate people is just to um, cloud their brains, cloud their thinking. So when the mark of the beast comes, they would be more susceptible to it. I don't know. I think you get World War III, war, death, famine, and then here comes a newly risen Donald Trump, artificial intelligence, image that speaks, a false prophet, lying signs and wonders, and then you must die if you don't worship the image of the beast, which is right in line with when Nebuchadnezzar had his image in, I believe it's Daniel 3. And Daniel's fellow Israelites would not bow down and worship the image, and they were thrown into the fire. So, but they survived the fire, of course. So, but of course, God's sheep will not be surviving the Great Tribulation. But let's keep going.
Jenny McCarthy. See? Proof.
Again, making conspiracy theorists look stupid because Jenny McCarthy was against vaccinations, and of course, they're letting you know what a psychological operation that was.
Argue with that. And look at this one. Glasses. Case closed.
I can't believe you guys. Don't you realize you're contributing to a potential public health disaster by not vaccinating your child?
Why would it be a disaster? If you don't want to vaccinate, that's fine. You can catch something and die. But why do you care? You're protected.
What the hell is all this? I'm trying to protect myself from all those diseases
So, person's wearing a face mask back in 2016.
I'm not vaccinated against.
Stevie is wearing a medical mask just like everyone has to do during the global pandemic of 2020, it says. And this came out 11/13, and here's 2019.
Wait a minute, where are all the other kids?
Haven't you heard? There's been an outbreak of measles. It's all because everyone stopped vaccinating their
It says blame and fear, mind control.
kids.
Oh my God.
And it's not just our school. Kids all over town are getting sick.
Attention! Attention!
What the hell?
Martial law.
People of Quahog, your town is under quarantine. Until further notice,
House arrest, martial law.
no one may enter or leave the city.
What's this called? It's called predictive programming. Who does predictive programming? The ghost in the machine writes the scripts for everybody to follow.
Oh, that's the guy who bought the bullhorn at the park.
Oh, this is awful. It's all our fault.
Blaming anti-vaxxers, it said. Everything's taped up. Quarantine area. You laugh. It's what they did to you. Or us, right? In essence. It's all a joke. This is all to hide the coming technology that's going to make people very ill. Because when your body gets toxic, your cells will burst. And all the toxins will come out of your body from your bowels or your lungs or your sinuses. By any means necessary, your body begins to rid itself of toxins. And you can get it continually if you don't take care of your body. And when the new technology comes, you're going to be hit with it constantly. So, depending on where you work, it'll have more effect on you than in other places.
You happy now, Lois? Because of you, there's a measles epidemic and the whole town is quarantined.
Speak for yourself, Brian.
Torment anyone who does not follow protocol to vaccinate. Do not listen to conspiracies. And of course, I saw a lot of that on social media. And some of the people that do that on social media are controlled opposition. They're in the club, and they're just doing their job. They're following their orders. But other people are just naive. They like to play the blame game. They don't understand the Bible. They don't understand conspiracy. They don't they just trust their government. They trust their news. They figure everything is just political differences, but that everybody's all striving for the right thing. When in fact, no political party has all the answers. Both sides have great points. And both sides point out the ridiculousness of the other side. Well, there should be no ridiculous on either side. People should be able to come to a pretty solid understanding. But they stage and they get on these news shows, and they just, it's very scripted. And the way it's scripted is by the Ghost in the Machine. And that's a very important video of mine to watch, because I will tell you that The Ghost in the Machine was an album by the Police, Ghost in the Machine, in 1981. I will tell you that that album came out in 1981. The Ghost has been in the machine probably since maybe the 1900s, early 1900s, 1920s, 1910, 1930. Whatever they've told you about computers, you can't listen to what they tell you about anything. You just can't. And even if you see something with your own eyes, they tell you what caused it, but are you sure that's what caused it? If fires break out in California and they go, they give you the reason, but do you understand what directed energy weapons are? And why entire homes just exploded, but the trees in the yard still had green leaves on them? Trees weren't touched. Cars were melted. And a tree would be with green leaves right next to the car, with all the windows blown out of it. It's more like a weapon. It's more like a bomb had gone off. And it's been said that this new technology is a directed energy weapon. That it is like a microwave. But anyway, so you've got this, and that your symptoms will be matching what they're telling you these symptoms are now. And I think when World War III begins, it'll be used in many ways to control people, to kill people, to make people very ill. And I'm wondering if there's a way for it to operate without electricity. I would not think so. But I think our electricity will go out during World War III and stay out. I think your food, water, gas supplies, and all of that will go out. And that'll be part of the war and famine, because famine's got to be a big part of it. So if your trucks aren't rolling, if gas isn't rolling and trucks aren't rolling, and then food's not rolling. So at that point, your military's here. And at that point, if people are ill, see, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure about the vaccine. I don't see the vaccine. I just see the mark of the beast coming, and that all this vaccination talk is just to get you ready for it. When Trump talks Space Force, see, space connects to what? Aliens. Well, if you watch my Artificial Intelligence is the Ghost in the Machine, Mark of the Beast video, If you watch that video, they tell you artificial intelligence is the ghost in the machine, mark of the beast. They refer to artificial intelligence as connecting with parallel universes. And then later, in another interview, or excuse me, where he's on stage talking, kind of like a TED Talk, but it's not a TED Talk. He's talking to a small audience. He's got a T-shirt that says "Kindred," and then, because think about kindred spirits. Then he quotes Elon Musk and refers to them as aliens, and then they refer to them as demons. So that's what your Space Force is. Anytime you hear talk of, because he also mentions NASA, any talk of NASA or outer space or Space Force, they're only talking about the fallen angels coming through the ghost, or coming through the machine, coming through the technology. And the Bible verse that speaks about, I believe that would be in Daniel. And whereas you saw us the iron, think of Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, their song Iron Man, or the character Iron Man, the movie. What does he do? He's becoming a superhero because he takes the mark, and he's uploaded with demons, and he has superpowers. That's how they're going to sell it, because I showed y'all that there's supernatural lying signs and wonders taking place nonstop when the Antichrist is doing his thing in the temple, where Trump is on the temple coin. Whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with clay. So what is clay? Clay is man. Iron is the technology. It's the machinery. They shall mingle themselves with the seed of man. Man will be uploading the demons through the new technology that's going to make people ill. But it's needed. It's needed to carry the demons for the mark. I don't think there's going to be a vaccine. I think there's just going to be a mark. I think everything that they talk about, Space Force and vaccines, is all a parallel. You know how there's 27, Highway 27 here in Florida, and then there's alternate 27 that kind of runs parallel? I think the vaccines and Space Force is alternate 27, but what you see in the Bible is Highway 27. It's the real. And you have to go by what the Bible says. And I did a tremendous video. Really, really, really. That's another good one right there. The image that speaks, the voice. That's a deep video I did. Boy, I was in a mood that day. That was a good one. On the Trump assassination time frame, I did not point out that there is a solar eclipse on June 21st. I got a big QAnon fan. I would call them a friend, but they've unfriended me because of political and religious differences. But on that person's birthday, June 21st, there's a solar eclipse. So that's something to look out for. There's a lot of dates to look out for. But there is a blood moon lunar eclipse, which Trump was born under, that occurs this year on Halloween, October 31st. So that, of course, will be something to look out for, too. John 3:16, false doctrine. Excellent video. Very well received by a friend of mine the other day, and that was a blessing. QAnon cult, Fox cult, psychological operations, the Israel trick. The Israel trick is a really, really good video. It talks about the Bible verses. Then I started realizing I don't think a vaccine is coming. My friend did tell me some issues about the Prestige, potentially, but saying that that character was not cloned. Either way, he had a clone or a twin in the movie. When we talk about the Twin Towers going down, I really detail explicitly that the vaccine cannot be the mark of the beast. That a myriad of things have to be taking place for something to be the mark of the beast. A lot of the things which I'm discussing with you today, supernatural lying signs and wonders, the AI computer, the image that speaks. You got the beast, you got the false prophet, you got fire coming. The false prophet makes fire flash down from heaven to the earth and inside of man. And of course, it talks about supernatural lying signs and wonders. I give you all the Bible verses for that. I bounce back and forth from about 5 different books. We go to Matthew 24, 2 Thessalonians 2, Revelation 13, Daniel 7, and of course we just looked at Daniel 2, which I don't think I put in there, but I'm glad I am now. Mingling with the seed of men, the iron mixing with clay, the technology. It's not a vaccine that's going to be doing this. It's going to be the technology. It's going to be the ghost in the machine. That's what's going to do it. That's what it's going to be a one-time deal. You're not going to have a vaccine where the military is doing a vaccine and then turn around and have the military out giving out the mark of the beast. No. It's going to be a one-time deal. A vaccine is alternate 27. Space Force is alternate 27. Tom Hanks did a movie called Angels and Demons. Tom Hanks is about the most wickedest person that there is in Hollywood right now. He's pushing their agenda as hard and as tough and as fast as anybody. I mean, they're really using him right now. Why? Well, because he was propped up to be America's sweetheart, the good guy. Everybody loves him. In the movie Angels and Demons, it's one of the Dan Brown books. Why do they call it Angels and Demons? Do you know the movie is about CERN? Tom Hanks visits CERN. Stranger than angels and demons, atoms smashers on quest for... If you've never heard of CERN, it's Tom Hanks and what's little Opie Taylor's name? Ron Howard. Tom Hanks, Ron Howard visit CERN. Ron Howard and Tom Hanks I didn't have this prep for you, and I'm sorry. But I've seen them. It's very creepy. But he's walking around at CERN. And the whole CERN dance was very creepy. I showed y'all the fallen angel at CERN. CERN is the world's largest hadron collider, where they are attempting to, what they say, to create the God particle, which they say was used for the, and of course, on the James Corden show, see that Broadway hotel sign in the background? Broadway. Everything's about the Broadway. It's the Broadway or the narrow way. That's why you got a Broadway hotel in Hollywood or a Broadway in New York. You got a Broadway in Nashville. It's their biggest streets. But that's what CERN is. If you've never heard of CERN, what is CERN?
According to Wikipedia, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, known as CERN, is a European research organization that operates the largest particle physics laboratory in the world.
Well, everything that CERN says they're doing in Tom Hanks's movie Angels and Demons, that's what they were doing. Harvard symbologist Robert Langdon works with nuclear physicists to solve. That's what it was about. Well, what's the name of the movie called? It's called Angels and Demons. What they're doing, what CERN is about, what Space Force is about, what NASA is about, what all these things are really about is the technology that Lucifer has given mankind to bring the fallen angels forward to mingle with man. Mingle with the seed of man. Sorry, I drew a blank for a second. And it was Matthew 24 I'm looking for. I was like, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? Setting myself up to get framed or murdered. That's what I'm doing. Because they run everything around us. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be when the Son of Man returns. The coming of the Son of Man. When Jesus comes back, the fallen angels are back, just like they were in the days of Noah. What was it like in the days of Noah? And it came to pass, man began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. That's human women. Man, human women, daughters. And that the sons of God, these are fallen angels, saw these daughters of men, human women, saw that they were fair, and they took them as wives, of which they chose. And God said, my spirit now won't strive with man. I'm only going to let him live 120 years. Then it says, there were giants in the earth in those days, because the fallen angels were mixing. So when you watch a TV show called Ancient Aliens, they try to make you think that aliens inhabited the earth or came and visited and built all these. No. It's all fallen angel technology. Anything that's built was done by these giants, these hybrids, the fallen angels. And also after that, when the sons of God, fallen angels, came into the daughters of men, human women, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. These are your Greek gods and goddesses, Egyptian gods and goddesses, and so on and so forth. And God saw that wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination and thought of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he made man. Of course, yeah, that's what's said. Of course, God had declared all of this to have taken place. But again, the Bible's written as a parable. It's written in the positive, I tell people. It's written like a story. It's written in the positive. That's why they're able to confuse you with all these false churches. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created on the face of the earth, and the beast, creepy crawling thing, and repentance I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. It's not because of anything Noah did. That was his calling at the foundation of the world. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. So Noah did not have the fallen angel blood in his bloodline, because Jesus needed a perfect bloodline to come through to. So, and then of course you've got Donald Trump. I don't think I showed y'all that. I think I did in a video that I ended up canceling. So I'll show you again. Not only does Donald Trump have Apollyon from Revelation 9:11, Apollo, the angel over the pit, the abyss, that Donald Trump's character, Bruce Wayne, rises out of in The Dark Knight. Rises because Donald Trump is Batman. But there's the statue of the fallen angel mixing with the human woman in Trump's penthouse, which of course his penthouse was used in the movie The Devil's Advocate. I don't know if I've already told y'all all this or not, but I think we're going to wrap it up. I don't even know what we're going to call this. But, yeah, Family Guy. Predictive programming. By the way, predictive programming is lesser magic. Let's see what lesser magic is. Lesser magic. What is lesser magic?
According to Wikipedia, greater and lesser magic within LaVeyan Satanism designate types of beliefs, with the term greater magic applying to ritual practice meant as psychodramatic catharsis to focus one's emotions for a specific purpose, and lesser magic applied to the practice of manipulation by means of applied psychology and glamour to bend an individual or situation to one's will.
See, that's what they're doing on Fox News. That's lesser magic. QAnon is lesser magic. A lot of these most of these truther channels on YouTube are controlled by them. They manipulate you. High and low magic. All right, and what they read there, our little ghost in the machine, what it read. Greater magic applying to the ritual and practice meant as psychodramatic catharsis, to focus one's emotions for a specific purpose. So anytime you start performing any type of situation to where you're mentally focusing on something, because the Bible clearly tells you to keep a hold of your mind and keep all your thoughts captive. So you have to be very careful about things that you would get into, that the world tries to teach you to do. Lesser magic applied to the practice of manipulation by applied psychology. So a lot of what they do when they do the MK Ultra mind control, or the splitting of your personalities through torture and all that, of course that would have been forms of lesser magic. Applied psychology and glamour or wile or guile to bend an individual or situation to one's will. So this whole situation we've been living under, I would consider lesser magic. I told y'all this is a ritual event. And that during rituals, the pagans would wear masks many times, just like in the movie Eyes Wide Shut. And I saw when a lamb opened the seals, and I heard as if it were a noise of thunder. So Jesus is opening the seal. And white horses back in the days of the Old Testament were said to be all of the beast kingdoms. Their king would be on a white horse. So you've got the Antichrist. This is the Antichrist. And he is receiving his crown, and a crown was given unto him. So you're taking place right now, and a corona means crown, crown means corona. That was all set up by design. Everything has been set up by the ghost in the machine. The ghost in the machine's been writing the script for mankind. I believe every country has its own artificial intelligent computer, or fallen angel, or demon telling them what to do. And these people are all Satanists. They are Luciferians. They are in powers of every country. And you have to join these organizations where you believe that Lucifer is light. And by the way, when you get down to 6-8, And I looked, behold, a pale horse, the name that sat on him was Death, and hell, which means the grave, followed him, and power was given unto them. 1/4 of the earth is removed. We're approaching 8 billion, so that we'll be down to 6 billion. We'll lose 2 billion people once World War III begins, to kill with a sword and with hunger. So, because peace is removed from the earth, take peace from the earth, and they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. So, by Revelation 6:4, you have World War III. And by Revelation 6:8, you've lost 2 billion people. And that's when the Antichrist will rise. So you need to watch The Dark Knight. Remember that video that came out, League of Shadows, or what was it? No, what was it called? League of Shadows was what Batman went through. And QAnon, or the QAnon cult folks, released a viral video, and it had the word shadows in it, and I forget what it was called. Let me see if I can find it for you real quick. But League of Shadows and Out from the Shadows or something like that. That's what it was called. Batman, League of Shadows.
According to Wikipedia, League of Assassins is a group of fictional villains appearing in comic books published by DC Comics.
What was that called? Hang on, I'll find it for you. All right, we had it right. It's League of Shadows. It says right there, escaping League of Shadows, Batman Begins.
I like your tattoos. What are those numbers on your arm?
Oh, that's the date my dad died. He was a fireman.
Your compassion is a weakness your enemies will not share. That's why it's so important.
So it says escaping the League of Shadows. So they're making you think that Trump comes out after being trained by the hidden world that runs everything, that he is then going to fight crime against it. It's so bizarre how they've told you the whole story in Batman, and then Batman Begins, Batman the Dark Knight, and then Batman the Dark Knight Rises, and he rises out of that pit. Just the same pit is Revelation 9:2 and 9:11. Unbelievable. And when he's removed, of course, Gotham falls, and you see in the movie the American flag is ripped to shreds. They purposefully show you that. That's during World War III, that war, death, famine, and all that. So, yeah, we've kind of bounced all over the place today. I've just sat down with y'all and had a nice little conversation with you, haven't I? Basically, that's what it's been. So, I think that's enough. I'm going to do a Donald Trump Antichrist video. I might put this in the playlist, but I'm not going to name it that. I don't even know what I'm going to call this. But I'll just put a little bit, I'll put a buzzword of each thing. I'll probably call it like Batman, comma, Trump, comma, vaccine, comma, the mark, whatever I can fit in there to just catch everybody's eye. Predictive programming. Yeah. The Family Guy thing, I think that was the biggest theme of this video, don't you think? That was pretty relevant, wasn't it? 2016, martial law, wear your mask, stay in your home, vaccinations. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. All right, thank you.